And today we have with us two CEOs of two amazing companies that have been building trust in the past 10 years in two very different ways. One, by building the biggest stablecoin in the world, and the other one by building the first American federal crypto bank. Welcome to the stage, Paolo Ardoino.
Welcome, Paolo and Nathan.
And Nathan McCauley from Anchorage Digital.
Hello.
You want to say who you are in just one sentence, in case people don't have the full context here, and then we dive in?
Hello everyone, I'm Paolo, I'm the CEO at Tether.
Hello, I'm Nathan, I'm the CEO at Anchorage Digital.
Okay, let's start easy, and then we're going to get into the philosophical concept. Pizza was invented in Italy, but America gave it the platform to make it a global phenomenon. Is it a case of cultural appropriation or a fork?
Well, the problem is hard to replicate the quality. I tried pizza in New York. There's no such thing as, same type of pizza that in Italy you cannot find in New York. Sorry about that.
I think of it as mutually beneficial, that people take ideas, enhance on them. Arts do this, the food does this, and so I'm not sure about this idea of a cultural appropriation. I think it's more that we're building forward, and it's good. And I'll put in a plug for Detroit-style pizza out of the Midwest.
Let's agree to disagree. But what really matters is that also stablecoins were invented in Italy, or at least spearheaded by Italians. Is the same thing going to happen?
Definitely, I think that when it comes to stablecoins, you have really two sides of the world. One side is United States, and the other side is the rest of the world. USDT is a dollar stablecoin, and it has reached the highest demand outside the United States, because in the United States, everyone has already the dollar. So before going to and tackle that market, we decided to dedicate ourselves to the low-hanging fruit. That is, who does not have the dollar and wants the dollar. That is, I think, in hindsight, a very simple decision, but we have been we have seen our competition struggling with that simple math for a long time. If you go in Turkey, in Argentina, in Vietnam, and so on, the national currency there is not great. It devaluates against the US dollar very fast. So if you go in the streets in many emerging markets, you stop 1,000 people, you asked to the 1,000 people, would you prefer to hold the US dollar or your national currency? 999 will say the US dollar. One person maybe will say, I want my national currency. So that already, whenever you create a product, makes sense to go towards people that have an immediate need for that product, and for which these people, for these people, the product is a lifeline. And so that's what the USDT proved. It's a lifeline for hundreds of millions of people. Now we have 500 million wallets in emerging markets in the developed country, and it's growing at the pace of 30 million new wallets per quarter. It's almost like a social network level of growth. I now started to say that money is the ultimate form of a social network, because it's a way to connect people and transfer information and value at the same time. And through a stablecoin, you can do exactly that much better than cash. You can transmit value and information at the same time. And so first we tackled the rest of the world, and the rest of the world, in my opinion, will remain very much dependent from the United States dollar for a long time. So now that we learned a lot, we spent more than 10,000 hours thinking about stablecoins, we are ready to tackle a market that is already very much digital, that is already very efficient. The United States market is super efficient. So when you think about Nigeria, the efficiency of the financial rails there maybe is 20–30%. In other part of Africa, for example, you have mobile money that is phone credit, basically. And so that is maybe it works in that territory, but it does not allow people living, for example, in Kenya to participate to the global economy. So that's what we solved with USDT. In the US, so we have Nigeria like 20-30% efficiency of the financial rails. In the US, the efficiency is already 85 to 90%. So when you design a stable coin for the United States, of course you have to keep that in mind, that you are not in a country that have lower efficiency financial rails. And so that's what we did now with USAT. We thought about a stablecoin that is perfected for the use case of the United States. So about efficiency of transaction, interbank settlement, and all that. So both the stablecoins will be fundamental, and I think that the US can innovate for the United States. But for the rest of the world, unfortunately, I have to spend a lot of time thinking about it, because sometimes if you live in a country that is wealthy enough, you don't understand, you don't see the real issues that everything is relative, right? So what we see in our country could be 10 times worse in another country. And so that is the learning from USDT. So we should never compare the two things. So, the US will have its own way for stable coins, but the rest of the world will continue to be probably the predominant user of stable coins in the future as well.
Yeah, I think one of the big lessons for me was I, in some ways, missed early Bitcoin, and part of the reason I missed early Bitcoin was because I was somewhat naive from having grown up in the U.S., where, like Paolo said, the dollar basically works. The markets are basically efficient. Now, a lot of my early career was digging into payment systems and actually figuring out that they're not actually that fully optimized. They're not actually that fully transparent. There actually is a lot of improvement that can go there. And so I think that the proof point that USDT and Tether has proven globally is there's going to be a lot of lessons learned that are going to come from that fundamental innovation, taking, in many ways, what I call the least bad fiat currency and taking it to the rest of the world. And then taking some of those lessons and applying them in the U.S. market, where there will be opportunities to make things more efficient. Even in the U.S., we still see a surprising amount of individuals that are underbanked. We see a surprising amount of transactional volume that is still inherently risky because of settlement times that are sometimes measured in hours or even days. And so I think there's an incredible opportunity on the institutional side and on the retail side to solve a lot of problems, and USAT is perfectly positioned to satisfy some of those use cases.
So the USAT obviously was announced a few weeks ago as the American stablecoin by Tether, issued by Anchorage. What does the T stand for?
Made a joke on Twitter saying the T stands for trillions, because I believe that in the next 3 to 5 years, the reasonable market size of USAT will be at least $1 trillion. I think that is also the reasonable size, if not probably higher even, of USDT. So I believe that within 5 years, we're going to sit on top of $2-3 trillion, just because of, in a certain way, I think for USAT, the market, the use case is clear, and is very positive. Is about bringing the entire financial world on chain, but in a transparent way, an efficient way, and provide this type of tools for again, derivative settlements, interbank settlement, and all that. Part of the traditional financial system that is still using COBOL and very outdated languages and system from 40 years ago. Eventually that will change, and stablecoins will capture the entire market. Outside the United States, I believe that in a certain way, the realization is that stablecoins and USDT in particular is kind of a sad realization. Stablecoins will become more and more successful the more there is an insuccess of entire economies around the world. So the more central banks in emerging markets will take bad decisions, the more USDT will be successful. So it's kind of a weird realization, but is also true. So we use that as a way to wake up every single day. We wake up and think about it, that we are providing at least an optionality way out for people living in these countries that at least now have a solution to escape to failing national currencies. I mean, just a few days ago, I think Argentina was said to be in a dire situation, and in Argentina, USDT is extremely popular. And think about this: in Argentina, there are still $300 billion sitting in cash banknotes under the mattress. So that money will flow in stablecoins, I think, in USDT. And will be back again part of the local economy, so will actually be part of the return to success of countries like Argentina. But in the meanwhile, unfortunately, the world is going darker, and we're seeing that every day. And I believe that this technology is in the right place to help hundreds of millions of people.
So the question is, what does the T stand for?
Yeah, what does it stand for?
Trusted.
Trust.
Terrific. Trillions. Tether.
And the A stands for?
America.
And?
Anchorage.
There you go.
Anchorage. Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
You served it. Yeah, catching it.
I have to suggest.
Yeah, well, Paolo's doing your job better, Nathan. These are my two favorite CEOs in the world, but I only work for one of them, so it's a bit of an imbalance here. Okay, let's go deep now. 5 years ago, imagine 2020, you guys were obviously, being the visionaries that you are, envisioning a world in 2025. What did you really think 2025 would look like? And what's the differential from what it actually is?
Want to go first?
Oh, sure. So 2020, for those who don't remember, is a tough year. This is a global pandemic, which in many ways, I think created a lot of acceleration. It created a lot of acceleration for internet companies, created a lot of acceleration for technology, but was also, I think in many ways, unfortunately, a real sense that disparity in outcomes, disparity in financial access, and disparity in wealth was really underscored during that year. And so I think if you remember back to 2020, we had a bit of a run in crypto, where crypto was one of the things that really accelerated. And I think that was because people were worried about the world at large, worried about the state of society, and were fleeing to something that they could feel safe with. And so I think what we've seen since then is, in many ways, a increasing distrust in the institutions that we used to hold dear, whether that's government agencies, whether that's banks. Any of the institutions are somewhat damaged by some of the things that happened in 2020. And so when I looked at kind of where do things go forward, the crypto industry to me was one of the most promising areas where we'd have an opportunity to rebuild trust, because you could have inherent transparency. Transparency, that's another good T.
Good T.
Let's add that one in. You could have increased transparency. You could have an increased trust, because you wouldn't have institutions that depend necessarily on people. But crypto allows you to build institutions that are trusted based on algorithms, trusted on they will not be preferential to any one particular person, and they will be available to everyone. And so what I was really hoping for in 2020 was to see that, midway through the decade, we would see more of the rise of crypto, more of the rise of alternative forms of trust that I think could be durable for the next century. I think we're on the path there. I think the crypto industry has made a lot of progress. We have put together a lot of I think really incredible, previously unforeseen technologies you couldn't really have imagined back then. I think we still got a lot of work to do. I think there's still a lot of progress to be made. There's still a lot of things that we can build. But the good news is that the tide is changing. On a global level, more and more people are believing that crypto-based solutions can be the solution. And I think that's probably one of the things I'm most excited about and most optimistic about for the next 5 years, maybe even the next 10, 20 years, is the kinds of solutions that can be built on cryptography, built on decentralized trust, and built on understanding that individual human sovereignty is extremely important.
2020 was a very important year for Tether, for USDT. March 2020, up to March 2020, the market cap of USDT was $5 billion. At the end of 2020, it was 60. What we discovered was the fact that in all the emerging markets in developing countries, as Nathan was saying, the pandemic hit harder. These economies, although every single economy was affected, in these economies, the pandemic was really destroying the local substratum of jobs and the economy. And so if you think about it, the emerging markets are the countries where there is more youth, so there are more kids, so the kids are more prone to learn new technologies, and so the kids from 2017 to 2020 in the developing countries have taken more time to learn about crypto as a form of another form of asset, or as a way to even speculate, doesn't matter. But also in the emerging markets, developing countries, the common denominator there is that there are more kids, and also they are very digital. And so what happened, and also the other thing is that in the developing countries, people are used, families and mothers and fathers of families are used to go in the streets and buy cash dollars from the black market, because that is what they have been doing for the last 30, 40 years, if not more. But think about it. It's 2020, it's March, the pandemic hit. What is the first thing that every single newspaper and government does? There's a shutdown. You cannot go in the streets. You cannot meet people. Families panic because they are scared. They want to buy more dollars. They want to dump their local currency, but they cannot get in the streets. They're talking at the table, at dinner, and the son says, well, Dad, I have a better option to hold dollars, and that is on my smartphone, and that is USDT. That is what happened, and I wish I could say, well, we understood it from the beginning. Actually, we understood this only in 2024. We started scratching our head to understand what the hell happened there, and we started understanding that was the case. It's very humbling to me because, it's for the first time that the kids are teaching to their parents, oh, there is a better way to hold dollars, and here how I do it. You can do it as well. Don't go in the streets. Don't put yourself in danger. So that is the realization, and that was one of the moments I became more proud of our company as a way to help all these communities.
Let's switch gear to now then. What do you expect in 5 years?
Sure. So, I talked about it a little bit, but the acceleration we're seeing on a bunch of different technological fronts, I think is really exciting. I think we see a real optimism for the future. I feel like there's Paolo talked about the kids. I feel like the kids are more optimistic about being builders, about building up the institutions that we can trust. We've also just worth talking about some of the trends we're seeing. We're seeing the rise of crypto. I think we're seeing the rise of stables. I think we're seeing the rise of AI, and probably one of the most interesting trends I would say is this overall trend globally where many of the world's nations are becoming more insular, and crypto is one of the primary industries where we are only getting more connected, and so we are, I think, one of the great opportunities to kind of maintain the opportunity for a global community where right now the rest of the industry, the rest of the world is kind of trending towards insular, inward-looking kinds of things, and so that keeps me really positive. I love coming to crypto conferences, being able to talk to people. Crypto is truly a global community and a global movement, and so I think that connectivity that we have is something that we can actually tangibly feel. And when Paolo talks about money being a social network, there's a real sense where that's not just a philosophical analogy, but actually I think a real force that is binding us together. So those communities that we're building, the things that we're able to build together, are probably what excites me most about the next 5 years.
So in the next 5 years, I think what we're going to see is consolidation of the use cases we discussed about. And the other part, I think, is going to be definitely more and more adoption from the ground up and from the institutional level. Also, I believe that there will be a massive usage of stablecoins from artificial intelligence agents. If I think an AI agent as a logical being, that's how we code them, I think that AI agents will want to interact with other agents or with environments surrounding them through a currency, right? So you have a smart fridge. The smart fridge needs to buy your groceries. You have a car. While you're at work, you want your car to go and recharge itself. You want to have, I don't know, even a light bulb paying its own electricity. I mean, all this, you can push it to the craziest levels. But eventually, I believe that every single AI agent will permeate almost the fabric itself of the universe, and so we'll be surrounded every single tiny thing. Even like you can have a shoe with a small LLM that will recognize the patterns of how you're putting your feet down to train you how to walk better, to not have back pain, for example. Like you can push it very far. I'm not saying that all of this will necessarily happen in this order, or maybe there are things that are more interesting than others. But it's clear that AI will start permeating really the fabric of the universe, and so AI will need to interact with everything that humans have been building, and AI will interact with other AIs. And as logical beings, the AI will need to pick which currency will be used to interact with others. And I think that Bitcoin could be one, but it's tricky because it has volatility, it has different, I love Bitcoin, but probably it's not the right choice in this moment. And I think most likely will be something that is used already very widespread in the world, that has connections to the four corners of the world, that is programmable, like USDT and USAT. So I think that what I see about the stablecoin world is that on one side you have all these investors investing in AI infrastructure like OpenAI, Anthropic, and so on. But on the other side, there is a way through stablecoins to capture the other side of the value chain, that is the entire AI economy that will be created in the next 5 to 10 years.
The choice of stablecoin will be as important as the choice of religion. True, false?
No, I don't see many religions that are interoperable. I think
some are.
Yeah, some are, but
some are not.
Yeah, some are not.
Some are forbidden. Some are regulated.
I think that we are going to enter in a hot topic, so I will say that I believe that stablecoins will be interoperable, and at least for sure USDT and USAT will be interoperable, so that you can have the best of the two worlds, wherever you need, wherever you need to send the money. The user experience of the product will be seamless and perfect.
I often joke that there's, Bitcoin particularly is a piece of infrastructure that is so global in nature that the best analogy for it is a world religion. It's something that is beyond the power of any one particular state. So I see the analogy clearly. The other thing that I think about is actually in addition to Anchorage being in the stablecoins and working in stablecoins in meaningful ways, the other thing we do is institutional custody. And so went ahead and asked all the popular LLMs, all the top 5 LLMs, what the best institutional custodian was, and I'm proud to say that they all picked Anchorage. So I'm confident at least that the LLMs, when they need crypto custody, will come to me. Should be good.
Well, what I did ask the LLMs is who's the only issuer in the world that can issue genius compliant stablecoins, and also
Yes.
the answer was Anchorage Digital. So congratulations for your choice, Paolo. Thank you for your business. And now amplifying on this concept of the integration and interoperability, the future stack for crypto is vertical integration or is fragmented building blocks? And I'm referring to success cases in industrial history with Tesla, with Apple, that by integrating various layers of the stack really achieved optimal product distribution and global success.
So there is a book that I like very much. It's called The Cathedral and the Bazaar. And is a story, is an essay on written by Eric S. Raymond, and is a story of 2 approaches of building anything. One is building a cathedral. It's a beautiful piece of art, very complex, very stunning. And then you have the bazaar. It's very messy. It's very noisy, confusing, and so on. But then, if you take down a small piece from the cathedral, everything falls down. While if you remove or change parts in the bazaar is made by people anyway. It's a people interaction. It will recreate. It will just move 50 meters, 2 kilometers away, and will recreate itself because it's social interaction. And so I think that I like to think about the world as a mesh network rather than something that is very monolithic. So vertical integration works if you want to have your product and your ecosystem as a walled garden ecosystem, which is kind of antithetical to the Tether business model. Actually, the more we open our doors and the more we open opportunities through building software, building open source software and all that, the more we have success. So actually our incentive is to be more like a bazaar rather than be a cathedral.
Yeah, I'm just now learning that you like this book. It's also one of my favorite essays. One of the ones that the essay talks about is that in any organization, there is inherently more talent and more capability outside of your organization than there is inside the organization. And another thing that is argued by that essay is that the more that you build open systems, the more that you build systems that others can build on, the more that you can benefit from the shared consciousness and shared talent that is available within the world. Also big fan. The other one I talk about that I would mention there is this book called Seeing Like State. And Seeing Like State talks about how many times we reason about other, when nations reason about other nations, they often reason about them with an abstraction, and the abstraction is actually fake. It's not real, but it's like kind of a projection of how they think things actually operate. In reality, things operate in a very messy way, in a very organic way. And the more that you can build solutions that are flexible enough to be used in ways where the organic use cases can just emerge without being centrally managed, without being centrally planned, the more you can be dynamic.
We're talking to a room of builders that are really going to use USDT and USAT a lot. And you mentioned interoperability now and before. Can you give them a hint on how exactly to pick which currency for which case?
I think that I envision a future where you have, if you're living in the United States, you will have USAT most likely, and but it's possible that you might need, the United States are a huge remittances corridor. So it's possible that you might want to send the USAT to Argentina, for example. You might see that the receiving party is USDT because it's very, very popular there. And so we are going to create primitives for you on DeFi and centralized exchanges where you can swap one-to-one without fees, so that everything, the entire process is seamless. You know, one of our approaches is also use our distribution network at Tether that accounts hundreds of thousands of physical touch points with kiosks in Africa and in Central South America and Asia, where we make sure that all this distribution network will support both. And then we are going also to, and we announced that as a partnership with Rumble, that is a social media platform, is a video platform with 51 million active users in the United States. We are going to build wallets and wallet infrastructure that can empower all these platforms, and that wallet infrastructure will support both USAT and USDT, and make the user experience also from the consumer side very, very seamless, right? So you have just a dollar pocket inside. You can have USAT, USDT, doesn't matter, and you can swap one-to-one wherever you go, whatever you have to pay. Everything will be atomic and very simple to use.
Yeah, we're very interested to help with the use cases within the United States. I think the opportunities I talked about earlier about kind of the institutional use cases, faster settlement, reduction of risk in the system are going to end up being extremely interesting. And I think many of the U.S. institutions are actually going to want to likely accept USAT and USDT for a lot of their operations. Many of the institutional use cases within America come from financial institutions that are inherently global. And so that interoperability layer there will, I think, be a central part of the use cases here across the board.
To conclude, we've already said that stablecoin and pizza pretty much are alike. So what is the one ingredient you don't want to see in a pizza?
I don't know, pineapple is the classic one.
Nathan?
I'm a fan of almost every food except eggplant. If the eggplant got hit by a global pandemic, I would be okay with it.
If eggplant and pineapple are the food that people don't want to see on a pizza, what is it that we don't want to see in a stablecoin reserve composition?
I think we don't want to see it be a central bank digital currency. That's the eggplant of stables.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all saw how certain things went very badly in 2022 for who thought, after thinking about 5 minutes about the problem of stablecoins, thought I could create an algorithmic stablecoin. So I think that what USDT and USAT will represent is just, an over-collateralized bank. Right now, banks, do up to 90% of fractional reserve. We think that people deserve better. They deserve to know that the money is always there when they need it, and that's exactly how we are going to make our stablecoins. So we don't care about the others.
Thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.